countries don't cut their way to economic prosperity. Countries tend to grow their way to economic prosperity. You with me so far?
Hey guys, I'm Mike, and in this video, we're taking a look at David Pakman appearing on Patrick Bet-David's show. During this part of the discussion, they focus on cutting government spending, something Patrick Bet-David strongly supports. But as the conversation unfolds, his arguments start to fall apart, and David Pakman methodically breaks them down point by point. I want to show you these clips because they're a clear example of how right-wing arguments about government often sound strong on the surface, but don't hold up under scrutiny. Before we dive in, please take a second to subscribe. It really helps the channel, and drop your thoughts in the comment.
We keep giving money to people with zero accountability, and we just keep saying, here, go spend this money.
What money are you talking about?
$1.9 trillion.
But money for what programs?
Any programs. Any programs that we're giving money to that there's no accountability for is being wasted. Any one of them.
But name one.
Include military. Include any of the entitlement programs that we have.
Like which one?
Include welfare. Include food stamps. Include any one of them. We can pull it up and I'll tell you right now, any one of them.
But what I don't understand is, what do you mean by there's no accountability?
Can I give an example, please? Because I think what you're trying to say is...
The fact that you don't know where I'm going with this is an issue. Well, because, so what you're saying is, you know exactly what happens with the money when you give it to when you pay taxes?
No, I just don't understand what you're talking about.
You really don't know what I'm talking about.
Let me give you some examples.
Can I just give one example, and then we can open this up and you guys can have fun doing what you're doing? What I think you are saying is, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And I think what Patrick is alluding to is the fact that we are now at $30 trillion in debt.
Okay.
And the fact that we keep piling on this issue of, like, I get it. We all need military. We need the police. We need the firemen. We need all these social systems. We need a social safety net. We need welfare. We need Medicaid. We need Medicare. I think what his point is like, at what point is enough? Now we want to pile more stuff into our storage unit that is already filled to the brim, and we need to keep piling and piling and piling more. And at what point is he saying, can we stop funding the government this way, because it's not a good look for us, because we're at 31, 32, 35 trillion. And what he's saying, I think, is like, we're going to have to make some cuts and make some adjustments. Okay. And you're saying, let's double down. Let's keep adding some to this stuff.
I didn't say that.
No, I'm like, you want to add more systems, you said.
I think
you said I want one or two more.
No, but wait a minute. You really didn't understand what I just said.
Did he not understand it, or did I not?
I'm asking you.
I want to get to just a very specific example of a specific program that you're displeased with.
Buddy, anything.
So you're against all government programs?
I didn't tell you all government programs.
So which ones are you against?
You can tell how frustrating this has to be for someone like David Pakman, who comes prepared with data and specifics, trying to engage with arguments that are mostly based on vibes. Patrick Bet-David keeps repeating that the government needs to be cut, but when Pakman presses him for details what exactly should be cut, the answer is basically anything. And then, when Pakman follows up and asks, so everything? Suddenly it's, no, not everything. This is something you see constantly with right-wing commentators, and Patrick Bet-David is a perfect example of it. The argument sounds strong at first, but the moment specifics are required, it completely falls apart. It's all driven by feelings rather than facts, and when someone like Pakman brings actual data into the conversation, it gets brushed aside instead of seriously engaged with.
If you give money into programs that you're coming out saying, hey, we're going to spend $88 million for this.
Okay.
If you want me to pull it up and we can go through expenses and tell you which ones works and which one doesn't, we can do that as well if that's what you want to do. But if you constantly come to me for more money, let me just put it to you this way.
Yeah.
What does it mean when a company or an individual is in debt $200,000?
When a company or an individual
let's just say I'm in the $200,000.
Okay.
And it was $100,000 5 years ago.
Okay.
It was $50,000 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It was $10,000 15 years ago. I come to you for another $50,000. Right. Should you lend it to me?
Probably not, no.
What are we doing? What are we doing? We're lending our taxpayer.
It sounds like you're analogizing.
But we're lending our taxpayer money, and we keep getting into more and more and more and more in debt. If the government was an individual or a corporation, I don't understand why investors keep giving this government more money when they have no cash.
The critical answer is the government and countries are not like households or companies. That's the difference. It's not
That's not true.
analogous.
That's not true. Analogous. That's not true, though. So meaning it's okay for us to keep going into debt. That's okay.
That's not what I'm saying.
So what is different about it?
It's important to have a balanced view that when it comes to, and what's crazy about this is, I'm not advocating for getting more and more into debt, right? Trump did a great job of it blowing up the deficit. The deficit, we still have a positive deficit. It's slightly lower.
Notice I didn't say Republican or Democrat. I'm telling you, I'm not supportive of it, period.
Presidents, generally speaking, increase debt.
But first make the argument on how different it is to give the analogy of personal household, that it's okay for the government to increase its debt, but not on the personal side.
It's not a question of it's okay. It's not the same. And what I'm struggling with, Patrick, is that like everything I'm saying is just being relayed to me, usually interrupting me incorrectly. So now I'm having to clean up what you think I said to then answer the original thing. My point is the following.
You said those three are different things.
They are different
Explain
things.
why.
They are different things.
Explain.
With a household or corporate budget or debt, you at some point at the end of the day don't have any more recourse to carry the debt, and you either have to declare bankruptcy or you have to, all the things that you know. With a country, of course, if the economic growth becomes decoupled from the growth in the national debt, that is a problem. We've seen it in many, many countries. But in the United States, and again, I'm not saying who cares about the debt or the deficit, but I think we have to appreciate that there's a difference. If your economy keeps growing, if that national debt grows more or less in parallel with the growth of the economy, and it continues to be backed, you don't get to that day where there is the you're now being evicted crisis that an individual has. That doesn't mean, let me say this one more time. I'm not saying the debt doesn't matter. There are people who say it literally does not matter. I'm not saying that.
Here's the question. Okay, so but let me kind of try to give the point of the example I want to give to you.
Yeah.
This is another argument you hear from right-wing commentators all the time. The idea that a country should be run like a household or a business. And David Pakman is absolutely right to push back on that, because a country is nothing like either of those things. Patrick Bet-David tries to argue otherwise, but it's a very simplistic, almost childlike way of looking at how governments actually function. In your household, if you don't make enough money to pay the rent, that's it. You can't sell bonds to cover the rent. You can't print money. You can't go to your neighbors and say, I'm going to tax you so I can pay my rent. None of that exists at the household level. Governments operate under completely different rules. The United States can issue bonds, it can tax, and it can print currency. Things that households and businesses simply cannot do. Businesses, on the other hand, fail all the time. Many of them are inefficient, and when they go under, that's unfortunate for the owners and the employees, and it can impact the local economy. But the country keeps moving. A government isn't like that. Essential services can't just shut down. You can't say, well, the fire department is closing next month, or the police department is shutting down after April. These aren't optional services that can be turned on and off like a failing business. So when people like Patrick Bet-David argue that the federal government should be run like a household or a business, it sounds intuitive on the surface, but it completely ignores how governments actually work and why they exist in the first place.
So what is a sign when an institution keeps increasing its debt? What sign is there? So if I keep getting fatter, is it because I'm a big bone person, or it's because I may have a bad diet and not exercising? What do you think?
I guess
Patrick Bet-David is an idiot. That is not analogous to anything that has to do with government spending.
You
need polls. I forgot.
You personally? No, I guess I'd have to ask your doctor. I don't know.
If you're a small bone guy, you don't seem like you were big when you were. Have you ever been 200 pounds?
No.
Okay.
No.
So if you all of a sudden next time you come on the podcast, you're 250 pounds,
you
should
would
I
be
be
worried
concerned?
about me? You should be concerned.
So can you accidentally become 250 pounds?
accident. It would be a number of accidents in a row.
Exactly. Which, by the way, you probably enjoyed your dinner. You probably enjoyed your food.
Right.
But if you came back 250 pounds, as a friend or even somebody that's in the similar space that we're creating content, should I off camera say, hey, bro, what's up?
I would appreciate it if you did.
Okay, I should do. You're a father. You got a kid. I'd like you to be around for your daughter.
Thank you.
Statistically, we're a better society when we are.
Right.
Okay. So if you come to me and I'm smelling bad. I'm not shaving. I look like crap. I have nothing. And I'm getting worse week after week after week. Should you question and say, Pat, is everything okay?
I think so, yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
These are fun examples.
I'm trying to have fun with you.
Different than what we're talking about.
If a country keeps increasing its debt year after year after year after year after year, should we not be concerned?
We should be concerned about whether we're spending money in the right ways. We should be concerned about whether we're collecting the right amount. But let's give them another $1.9 trillion.
I'm
not saying that. That's the thing. You know, I don't.
But you are saying that because you said the only difference when you went to your example of military and you wanted me to say yes. And you said, look, I'm not a socialist because I think this. And he said, the only difference is I just want 2 or 3 more programs. And what I'm saying is we can't afford it today.
Okay. That's
maybe in 20 years.
But And I worry that I don't know if you think I'm talking in bad faith or if you maybe don't understand my political views, but I think differences that are actually much more subtle than you think they are being blown up as if there's this crazy difference here about what's going on. We're definitely using different rhetoric in this conversation, but I don't know whether we're actually understanding each other really that well, because I'm with you. If there are programs that are wasteful, how do we define wasteful, right? That's the difficulty. But if there are programs that are wasteful, if there are programs that are not economically stimulative, if there are programs that are being used for fraudulent reasons or whatever the case, I'm going to be right there with you saying we need to do something about this. The things I'm looking at when they are done in other countries, the country doesn't become socialist. You can still own your business. They don't socialize your business. They don't communize your business. None of those things happen. Many of these countries have really good business environments, but they're just saying, hey, we have enough riches here that this capitalist system has created, which I'm in favor of, where we can do a couple more things. That's all I'm saying.
What I'm saying to you is...
You don't want it.
No, it's not what I'm saying to you, that I don't want it.
Yeah, we can't afford it.
If you can stop interrupting this entire damn show, freaking,
it's not fun, is it?
No, I'm good with it. It's part of having conversations with people. It doesn't offend me. But if I sit there and I say, David, we can't afford it right now.
Okay, I would say, what do you mean?
I would tell you it's called $31 trillion.
Okay.
So they really just end up going in circles here, and I'm going to stop it at this point. But look, David Pakman is being pretty clear. He's saying, yes, of course there's wasteful spending. No one's denying that. And just to be clear, this conversation was recorded pre-Doge. So this was before we started seeing the cuts that are now happening under Donald Trump's administration with Elon Musk involved. I'm sure Patrick Bet-David is loving what Doge is doing right now, but at the time of this discussion, none of that had happened yet. What David Pakman is really saying is, if we're paying taxes anyway, it would be nice to actually get something meaningful in return like people do in other countries. Places like Denmark and other parts of Europe where your tax dollars help cover things like college education or healthcare, instead of people going bankrupt because they got sick or going tens of thousands of dollars into debt just to get a degree. And that's where the frustration comes in. Patrick Bet-David just talks in circles. He never gets specific, never offers real alternatives, and never engages with the data. Meanwhile, David Pakman is a very logical guy, trying to present facts, explain how things actually work, and back it up with evidence, not just vibes and feelings. So I'm sure that had to be incredibly frustrating for Pakman in this conversation. But I want to hear from you. Who do you agree with here? Do you side with David Pakman, or do you think Patrick Bet-David made the stronger case? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. I'm Mike, and I'll see you in the next one.